The year is 1988. In Richmond, California, four individuals, Maxine Jones, Cindy Herron, Terry Ellis, and Dawn Robinson, walk into an audition room, completely unaware that their lives are about to undergo a profound transformation. This is the story of En Vogue, a journey marked by soaring success, internal struggles, and an enduring legacy. En Vogue emerged from the vibrant Bay Area music scene, a testament to the power of raw talent and unwavering ambition. Their journey would be a roller coaster ride of triumphs and tribulations, a story of navigating the complexities of the music industry while forging their own unique path to stardom. This is the story of En Vogue, a story of four women who defied expectations, captivated audiences worldwide, and left an indelible mark on the landscape of music. This story explores the highs and lows of their career, from their meteoric rise to fame to the internal conflicts that threatened to derail their journey. It delves into the complexities of their relationships, the challenges they faced as women in the music industry, and their enduring legacy as pioneers of R&B and icons of female empowerment. Prepare to be transported back to the era of their iconic hits, to relive the magic of their performances, and to witness the enduring power of their music. The journey of Denzel Foster and Thomas McElroy, known collectively as Foster and McElroy, commenced in Oakland, California. These two individuals shared a passion for music that transcended genres, seamlessly blending R&B, funk, and pop into a unique sound that would subsequently become their trademark. The 1980s proved to be a pivotal decade for Foster and McElroy. They first garnered significant attention as producers for Timex Social Club, whose 1986 hit single, Rumors, catapulted them into the spotlight. This initial success equipped them with the invaluable experience and the necessary confidence to establish themselves as a formidable music production team. Acknowledging their complementary talents, Foster's exceptional gift for crafting melodies, and McElroy's expertise in production and arrangement, they made the resolute decision to fully commit to their music production careers. The duo's first breakthrough arrived with Club Nouveau, a group they formed in 1986 after they departed from Timex Social Club. Club Nouveau's debut album, Life, Love, and Pain, featured the resounding hit single, Lean on Me, a poignant cover of Bill Withers's classic. This song ascended to the pinnacle of the charts, earning Foster and McElroy a prestigious Grammy Award for Best R&B Song. This success firmly cemented their reputation as innovative producers, renowned for their ability to seamlessly blend contemporary sounds with classic influences. By 1988, Foster and McElroy had parted ways with Club Nouveau and secured a lucrative production deal. They ultimately signed a trio that was generating considerable buzz in the Bay Area, known as Tony. Tony. Foster and McElroy released Tony's debut album under their production company, with the duo serving as both producers and co-writers. The album's first single, Little Walter, soared to the #1 position on the R&B charts in late 1988. Amidst the resounding success of Tony's debut album, Foster and McElroy embarked on a quest to create an all-female group that could rival the legendary girl groups of the past. Their vision was to seamlessly blend the harmonies and elegance of the 1950s and 1960s girl groups with the contemporary sound of modern R&B. Drawing inspiration from the enduring popularity of the iconic trio girl groups of the past, such as the Supremes and the Ronettes, Foster and McElroy believed that a group comprising 3 talented female vocalists would be the ideal configuration for their new project. "We wanted the girls to be beautiful, but not too beautiful," McElroy eloquently stated in a 1992 interview. "Intelligent but not nerds or anything. And more than anything else, when they sang, we wanted people to go, wow." Foster and McElroy conducted extensive auditions across the Bay Area to identify the perfect 3 members for their group. The duo meticulously auditioned approximately 3,000 aspiring young women, ultimately narrowing down the field to a select group of 5 talented finalists. The formation of the iconic vocal group En Vogue began with a series of chance encounters and a remarkable display of talent. Maxine Jones, born in Paterson, New Jersey, relocated to the Bay Area in the ninth grade in 1988. At 26 years old, she was working as a hairdresser in Oakland. She had previously done background vocals for Brenda Vaughn. Maxine wasn't initially invited to the audition but heard about it through a friend and decided to attend. Interestingly, her roommate at the time also secretly attended the audition without her knowledge, though she ultimately did not cut. Cindy Herron, 26 in 1988, was already a prominent figure in her own right before the audition. She had graced the pages of Jet magazine as their Jet Beauty of the Week in a January 1980 issue. She was also named Miss San Francisco in 1986 and a former Miss Black California. Herron had always wanted to pursue acting and had appeared in the 1980 PBS television drama Up and Coming. Given her background, Herron was a natural contender for the audition. Dawn Robinson, the youngest of the group at 20, had been a club singer since the age of 12 and was currently employed at a dentist's office. Originally from New London, Connecticut, she had moved to the Bay Area when she was a teenager. Her introduction to the audition process was quite unexpected. While attending the annual Summer Jam concert in the Bay Area, she was approached by an associate for Foster and Mick Elroy, who inquired if she was a model. Dismissing it as a pickup line, she initially ignored him. However, when he asked if she was a singer, it piqued her interest. The three aspiring singers, along with Maxine's roommate Jordana, entered the audition room. The producers initially conducted interviews to assess each girl's personality and suitability. Subsequently, they were asked to sing. Maxine went first, followed by Dawn, then Cindy. Dawn's rendition of the audition song, Waiting on You, would later be featured as the final track on the group's debut album. However, just as the initial auditions were concluding, another woman entered the room. Terry Ellis, a 25-year-old student at Prairie View A&M University, had been singing with a band and working in studios in Houston when a friend informed her about the audition. She promptly used her rent money to fly to Oakland the next day, arriving late due to weather delays. The girls sang solo in various combinations and in three-part harmony, then four. Maxine recalled in a 1991 interview, "When I went in with the girls, my voice fit in with theirs like we had the same tone qualities or something. It was amazing. Denny tried every possible combination of the four of us and it seemed to work. Everything we did seemed to work." The chemistry among the four women was immediate and powerful. Each brought a unique voice and style to the table, blending perfectly to create the rich, harmonious sound that would become En Vogue's signature. Foster and Mick Elroy, who had initially envisioned a trio, were captivated by the quartet's exceptional vocal synergy. A few days later, Maxine, Cindy, Terry, and Dawn received the life-changing news. They had made the group. The girls made it. They were in the group and ready to get to work. They signed a 7-year production deal with Foster and Melroy's company, Two Tough Enough Productions. In their initial agreement with Foster and Melroy, whom the girls would go on to nickname Denny and Tommy, the girls were allegedly promised $5,000 up front and another $5,000 after the album was finished. According to Dawn, they were also incentivized to personally receive 2 cents per album sold. So if they sold 1 million copies, each girl would bring in about $20,000 before other expenses. They were also introduced to their new manager, who managed Denny and Tommy as well. The girls were first featured on Denny and Tommy's compilation project, FM Squared, and featured in the music videos for the album while preparing to make their music. By 1989, the group began recording their debut album. The early days were filled with long hours in the studio, honing their craft and perfecting their harmonies. Denny and Tommy guided them, crafting a sound that was both nostalgic and fresh. The group's early music was heavily influenced by the likes of the Supremes and the Ronettes, but with a modern twist that set them apart in the competitive music landscape. The girls were beginning to spend a lot of time together. Terry, Maxine, and Dawn even shared an apartment in Oakland while recording the album. Cindy had her place but visited often. Even still, they seemed to get along just as well as they sounded. The group was originally named For You, but that name was already taken. Then someone suggested Vogue, which was also taken. Then the girls finally settled on En Vogue, not because the girls came in glamorous or anything. Tommy remembered the first time he saw the girls in a 1994 Vibe interview. What we weren't ready for was the transformations. Maxine was a little hippie with a cheesy little skirt and little braids. Cindy was put together, but everybody else was a bum. En Vogue would later go on to epitomize their name. The girls, once polished, looked like models and dressed like them too. In April 1990, En Vogue released their debut album, Born to Sing. The lead single, Hold On, became an instant hit, reaching number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and catapulting the group into the spotlight. The song's opening a cappella rendition of the Jackson 5's Who's Loving You, performed by Terry, showcased their vocal prowess and set the stage for their success. The success of Hold On was followed by other hits from the album, including Lies and You Don't Have to Worry, both songs climbing the charts and further establishing En Vogue as a formidable presence in the music industry. During this time, it is alleged that Terry and Denny from Foster and McElroy began to start seeing each other romantically. But that wasn't stopping the group's momentum. The Born to Sing album went on to go 3 times platinum. What truly separated En Vogue from other acts of the time was that all the girls could sing. I mean really sing. Each girl had the chops to sing lead on their track, which was rare. And not only could they sing, their looks and star power matched their talent. The 4 won a Billboard Award for R&B Single of the Year and a Soul Train Award for R&B Urban Contemporary Single of the Year, Group, Band, or Duo. They were also nominated for a Grammy for Best R&B Vocal Performance by a Duo or Group, losing to Ray Charles and Chaka Khan's duet, I'll Be Good to You. The ladies were on top of the world. They even signed an endorsement deal to appear in a Diet Coke commercial directed by Spike Lee. The public began to get to know the girls as well. Maxine was the free-spirited hippie chick, Cindy was the beauty queen, Terry was the Southern belle, and Dawn, well, she was the young spark plug of the group. Despite their success, when the group returned to the studio in 1991 to record their second album, they received the same payment as for their debut, $5,000 up front and another $5,000 upon completion, as well as 2 cents apiece for each record sold. Dawn would go on to say, "We had never seen that kind of money. I was singing in clubs one day, then I had a check for $5,000, and then another $5,000 at the end of the recording process. But to get the same thing for the second album was an insult." They were also told that they couldn't write on their sophomore album by their team, inhibiting any writing royalties that they could acquire once they put the album out. In 1992, En Vogue released their second album, Funky Divas. This album solidified their status as superstars, featuring hits like My Lovin', You're Never Gonna Get It, Giving Him Something He Can Feel, and Free Your Mind. The album showcased their versatility and ability to blend genres seamlessly. My Lovin', with its memorable refrain and sassy attitude, became one of their biggest hits, embodying the group's confident and empowering image. Funky Divas not only achieved commercial success going multi-platinum, but also earned the group numerous awards and nominations, including several Grammy nods. En Vogue became synonymous with empowerment, style, and vocal excellence. Their bold, confident image and messages of self-assurance and independence resonated with fans, especially women who saw the group as role models. But while everything seemed glamorous from the outside, Dawn was beginning to see how much money the people around the group were making, alleging that before any member of En Vogue got paid, Denny and Tommy and their label were taking the lump sum of the money. She would be vocal about this to the other members, but the ladies did not seem to care as much, afraid that they would face repercussions from the producers or their label if they spoke up for themselves. While on tour with MC Hammer, he caught wind that the ladies were only making 2 cents per album. He set up a meeting with the group and a business attorney who told them their deal was predatory and they should be making way more money. Dawn, being known for being the feisty one in the group, was ready to make a move that would force the label to pay the girls more, but the other members held back. But despite this tension over money, En Vogue ventured into new territory during this time. They made numerous television appearances on shows like In Living Color, A Different World, and Rock, Cindy also had a supporting role in the Tupac film, Juice. Funky Divas went 5 times platinum and was nominated for 5 Grammys. By 1993, they had secured an endorsement deal with Converse and were on the cover of publications like Vibe and 17. Rappers started mentioning them in their lyrics. Biggie shouted them out in Dreams, and FDOG even singled Dawn out in The Tribe Called Quest. The girls even caught the eye of one of the biggest stars of the time, Luther Vandross. He was a Feuds superstar during this time, known as the Velvet Voice. He had already solidified himself as one of the greatest vocalists of all time by 1993. He asked the members of En Vogue to join him as his opening act on his Never Let Me Go tour, which spanned 6 countries during 77 shows. But the ladies would soon leave the tour abruptly, due to spats with the superstar. It all started when the girls declined to do the Arsenio Hall show to promote the tour. At the time, they thought they had done too many TV appearances and were becoming overexposed. Strike 1. Then, the band's stage, Luther's stage, was in the round, meaning that it was in the middle of the arena and rotated around for the entire audience to see. En Vogue had signed a contract stating that their band was supposed to be on the stage. But when audiences started complaining that the stage was so cluttered they couldn't see, and the ladies started receiving bad reviews from critics, they wanted to move the band to where Luther was, which he had a problem with. Strike 2. Then, wardrobe. According to the contract they signed, the group was not allowed to wear any of the colors Luther or his crew wore on stage. No blacks, reds, whites, no primary colors. En Vogue was known for its striking red gowns and incredible fashion sense. To restrict them to wearing bland colors like brown, hot pink, and orange did not sit right with the girls, so they rebelled against it and wore the colors they wanted. Strike 3. This all culminated in a big blow-up between Luther and the ladies. Luther at one point put up curtains in the backstage area so he wouldn't have to even see the girls' faces. When the members of En Vogue disregarded the curtains and walked through them in order to make their way to the stage, Luther called the cops on them for trespassing. "Nothing we'd done prepared us for an experience like Luther," said Cindy, who was pregnant on tour. Luther's camp would use Cindy's pregnancy as an excuse to say that's why the girls wanted off the tour, but the girls refuted that. In an interview with Vibe, Cindy said, "When we played Radio City Music Hall, we had everything scripted and choreographed so we'd never get caught not knowing what to do. Now I'd like to get away from all that. I'd like to be freer in the show. But the truth is, we don't have the funds yet to pull that off." And she was right. The ladies were still tied to the same contract they had in the beginning. And even with the persistence of Dawn nagging the girls to take a stand against the label, nothing was done. But audiences couldn't tell from the outside. The girls were still as glamorous as ever. In 1993, they featured on Salt and Peppa's top 10 hit, What a Man, which still knocks to this day. They also released an EP titled Runaway Love, which had a single of the same name and was moderately successful. Dawn urged the group to boycott recording and take a stand against the label, believing that if they refused to record, the label would be forced to address their grievances and renegotiate. Cindy and Maxine agreed, but the label approached Terry with promises of a solo album, and she decided to not stand with her group members. Terry would record and debut a solo album, Southern Gal, in November 1995. It was released by East West Records and produced a top 10 R&B hit, Wherever You Are. The album peaked at number 116 on the US Billboard 100, so in other words, it wasn't the greatest success. But En Vogue was still on the up and up. The same year, the band made a cameo appearance in Joel Schumacher's superhero film, Batman Forever. By 1995, their 7-year contract with Two Tough Enough Productions had concluded, so it was finally time to renegotiate. Despite their success, all was not well within the group. By the mid-90s, internal conflicts began to come to a head. Following the release of Terry's solo album, Sylvia Rhone, the head of their label, offered Dawn the opportunity to record a solo album. Dawn began recording, however. After she had completed a few songs, Sylvia pulled the plug on her solo effort. This could be viewed in 2 ways. Either the label simply wanted to keep Dawn busy so she wouldn't stir up too much trouble about negotiations, or they observed how Terry's album performed poorly and decided they didn't want to risk another solo En Vogue project. I'll let you decide, but let me know what you think in the comments. Dawn agreed to stop working on her solo project as long as Sylvia Rhone would grant her her own solo rights, allowing her to seek another label for her solo endeavors. In 1996, the group recorded Don't Let Go, Love, for the soundtrack to the movie Set It Off. But during the recording sessions for Don't Let Go, Dawn heard speculation about her place in the group. The record label intervened, attempting to pressure the producers into not letting Dawn sing lead on the song. However, her voice sounded too good on the track to be replaced. The record label wasn't going to push the single at first for obvious reasons, but it started to take off organically. Don't Let Go, Love was En Vogue's biggest hit and went top 10 in multiple countries. The success of the song compelled Sylvia Rhone to send the group back to the studio to create their third album. Don't Let Go, Love would be the last En Vogue single in the video to feature Dawn. During a meeting about the album, the group fell apart. There are many accounts of what happened that day, but here's the gist. In 1997, Sylvia Rhone called a meeting that included all the girls, their attorneys, and staff. Knowing that Robinson had just signed a deal with Interscope Records and Dr. Dre for her solo project, Sylvia Rhone asked each member of En Vogue for a 2-year commitment to the third album. The other ladies were able to commit. Dawn felt like she was unable to do that, and refused, feeling as if Terry was supported for her solo project in ways that she wasn't. Dawn felt betrayed, not able to commit to Sylvia's demands. Dawn was kicked out of the group, but the other 3 remember it differently, saying that Dawn wasn't kicked out and left on her own accord. The group continued as a trio, releasing the album EV3 in 1997. Supposedly, they removed the vocals Dawn had already recorded for the album. While EV3 still managed to produce hits like Whatever It Is, it was clear that the dynamics had shifted. The album received mixed reviews and the group's cohesion seemed to be weakening without Dawn Robinson. The group struggled to maintain the same level of success and unity that had defined their earlier years. By 1999, Dawn was in a new group, Lucy Pearl. They released an album that was certified gold, but for En Vogue, the late 90s and early 2000s were marked by further lineup changes and internal conflicts. Maxine Jones left the group in 2001. Terry and Cindy brought in new members to fill the gaps. Amanda Cole had a short stint from 2001 to 2003. Aisha Bennett came along in 2003 and has been an on-again, off-again member to this day. These changes disrupted the group's chemistry and made it difficult for them to recapture the magic of their earlier years. Fans were disappointed by the constant changes and longed for the original lineup. During this period, the group released several albums and singles, but none replicated the success of their earlier work. The constant changes in membership and direction left fans yearning for the original magic that defined En Vogue. Despite their efforts, the group could not regain the commercial success and critical acclaim they had enjoyed in the early 1990s. In 2008, fans were thrilled when the original members reunited for a series of performances. This reunion reignited interest in En Vogue and led to new recording projects and tours. The original lineup, consisting of Cindy Herron, Terry Ellis, Maxine Jones, and Dawn Robinson, brought back the magic that fans had been missing for years. The reunion tour was a success, with fans flocking to see the group perform their classic hits. En Vogue's powerful vocals and dynamic stage presence reminded audiences why they had become such a beloved group in the first place. The reunion also generated media attention and brought the group back into the spotlight. However, the reunion was short-lived. Internal disagreements resurfaced, and Dawn Robinson once again left the group in 2011. Maxine Jones also departed shortly thereafter, leaving Cindy Herron and Terry Ellis as the only remaining original members. Despite these setbacks, the group continued to perform and record new music, bringing back Rhona Bennett to fill the void of the other 2 original members. Then, in 2012, Cindy and Terry sued Maxine and Dawn for the En Vogue name, plus $1 million in damages, claiming that Dawn and Maxine were illegally touring under the En Vogue name after the band broke up. The judge sided with Cindy and Terry, letting only them use the name. Dawn and Maxine toured under the name Heirs to the Throne for a short time, and then internal conflicts broke them up as well. Cindy, Terry, and Rona Bennett released an album under the En Vogue name titled Electric Cafe in 2018, which received positive reviews from critics and fans alike. And in 2019, the original band, plus Rona, got back together for a benefit concert thrown by Sylvia Rhone to support cancer research. Looking as good as ever, despite their challenges, En Vogue's legacy as pioneers in R&B remains intact. Their influence could be seen in the new generation of girl groups and female artists who drew inspiration from their groundbreaking work. En Vogue's contributions to music and pop culture continue to be celebrated and recognized by fans and artists alike. The funky divas were born to sing. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.